I can't drive 55! Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in the parking structure right next to the Regal. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Should you bring a date? Can you bring your kids? Should you go by yourself? Should you absolutely pay attention, or can you slack off a little bit and, kind of zone out a little bit? Should you snack, or should you not bring anything to eat because maybe you'll throw up? I don't know. We're going to try to discuss this stuff, all of it or none of it or somewhere in between, because that's what we do. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, that's what we do. We discuss things, some things, all things, nothing. But here we are. We saw a movie. This movie is called Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. It is the next installment, or maybe we could say the next to last installment. I don't know. The one before the last one, a prequel of sorts, but after the first three, so inserted in the fourth slot out of 5 so far. Yes. Well, anyway, we're going to talk about that movie. And Tim, why don't you tell us who is in this movie that we might have heard of or know of, or has a loose affiliation with our memories?
Well, the lead actress, Anya Taylor-Joy, she is Furiosa in this version, played, of course, by Charlize Theron in the original Fury Road. She's been in quite a few movies lately. She was the voice of Princess Peach and Mario, but she's also been in a lot of things recently. I think she was on the Queen's Gambit, that Netflix show as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's been around.
In fact, she's the star of that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, that was her.
For our listeners, we definitely reviewed that movie.
And
yes.
I believe The New Mutants was her.
Yes.
Yep. And Dune 2.
Oh, and The Menu. Menu, which
Dune 2 for her.
Right. Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
5-second scene.
Yes.
And The Menu, which we all enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yes. And then our other lead as the Dementus is good old Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself.
Hamming it up all over the place.
And he, about as hammy a performance as you can get. And that, I would say, is it for recognizable names. And obviously the director, George Miller, who's been the patriarch of this entire franchise. It's his baby, and he did this again.
He did do it again. And, so that's who's in it. What's this movie all about? Well, this movie is about Furiosa. This is about, we meet up with Furiosa. This is a prequel to Fury Road, where she's an adult. And in this movie, we meet up with her as a young girl who is in a place of abundance, the green place, they call it, which is referenced in Fury Road. But we get to actually see part of it in this movie. And then we follow her story. She's abducted from there and really has a hard life. And, she eventually meets up with Dementus. He is the leader of the people who abduct her as a child. And we follow her as she's growing up. And we see the evolution of the wasteland. We get to see Bullet Town. We get to see Gas Town, and we get to see the Citadel, which plays a major role in Fury Road, of course. What can you say about it, really, without spoiling too much? But basically, Furiosa grows up, falls in love, gets revenge, and we meet the story right up to what the events of Fury Road. So we go from Furiosa's kid years to all the way up to her adult years, where she becomes the character played by Charlize Theron in the next movie. So that's all I'm going to kind of say about that. How Furiosa-y are you feeling about this movie, Todd? Mm-hmm. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga.
Well, I will get the good things out of the way, which is, some of these action scenes that George Miller puts together are just crazy. Like,
insane.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Yeah, I mean they're just like so spectacular, and the landscape that he makes is so spectacular. All that stuff's like so on point for me. I do think he used a lot more CGI in this one than he did in Fury Road, but that's okay. I thought it all like only once or twice was I was like that looks a little fakey, but everything else was like right on what you expect from a Mad Max movie, honestly. So that's all great. I thought the performances in this movie are really good. I mean, Chris Hemsworth like really hams it up, but his character is kind of demented, so like it makes sense. Like, and I thought it's another example, I think, of when you let Hemsworth just go and you just let him do what he's feeling or whatever, it can be really entertaining. And so I was constantly entertained by his villainy and his character. Anya Taylor-Joy, I thought was good, great. Like I got no complaints from her. I guess my own my critique on her is not really her fault, but we don't see her. Like she doesn't come into the movie until halfway through the movie, and I was like, I could have done more. Like I could have enjoyed her on screen a lot more than the kid who plays a younger her we follow for a lot of the movie. Like I said, the landscapes are amazing. I think George Miller just can do high octane like cars, like just incredible driving sequences, incredible stunts on the cars and stuff like that. It's just really amazing. Like definitely Fury Road and this one, I was like, you're just so taken back by how great this looks. And in a time where like everything is CGI and he tries to use as many practical effects as possible, and you're actually seeing people on these cars doing stuff, it's just really amazing. And that's why I'll always come to see a George Miller Mad Max Saga movie, because I think even if you don't like the movie, that stuff that you're used to seeing is gonna be there every time because he just has an eye for that stuff. And while I did enjoy this movie, I do think it is not good as Fury Road. And part of that's because it's a prequel and you got to make it fit with what's going on. There were some kind of gratuitous cameos in this that I was like, okay, I don't see how that was needed, but okay, here we are. Honestly, the story was fine-ish, but I kind of felt like at times it dragged. And, maybe it's because you're coming into this movie expecting Fury Road, which Fury Road, once it gets going, it is like, it is go, 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 with little scenes here and there. This one's like big action scene, lot of story, big action scene, another lot of story. So the pacing was a lot different. So I think that's my fault. I set myself up thinking, oh, okay, it's going to be like Fury Road, and it was at times. But it's like a lot more story infused. Like Fury Road, you don't know a whole lot. You're not given a whole lot. You just kind of pick it up along the way. The main character of that movie, Mad Max, says maybe 12 lines in the entire movie. And this one, I just felt like the story was good, but not as great as it could have been. Like I felt like the story was almost a little distracting from the gorgeousness that you're seeing on screen, which is weird to say, but that's kind of how I feel. But I mean, I'm still going to give this a good rating, and I do say if you're at all interested in this movie, go see it in theaters. It should be viewed in theaters. That's how it was made. It's how it's going to look the best. It's how it's going to sound the best. Fury Road got high praise and stuff like that. I think this one should get high-ish praise, but not as high as Fury Road. So I say go see it. I say see it in theaters. The only people who I think shouldn't see this movie are people who just don't like the Mad Max movies, period. Okay, skip this one. But the general public who's looking for a great movie to see over Memorial Day weekend should be this movie. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Tim?
Yeah, Todd, I think I'm pretty much lockstep with you. I am not someone who is knee deep into the Mad Max world. I think I've seen the first one way back in the day, and I barely remember it. But all the hype around Fury Road made me go see it, and I was just wowed by like, wow, what a world, what a crazy, you know, your eyes were glued to the screen, and I just remember. So when I saw they were doing a prequel, I'm like, all right, I'm in, based on what I liked in Fury Road. And for the most part, I agree. This is another visual feast of action scenes and crazy car stunts, and a super overacted, hammy, but in the good way, performance by Hemsworth. And I liked Anya too. She's one of those few actors that can eye act, as I call it. She uses her eyes a lot, and then she has striking eyes, and she's able to convey emotion sometimes just with that. And there was a lot of that in this movie, and I just, in general, the Mad Max world is crazy and out there and not afraid to be weird and strange, and it just makes you watch it though in that good way. You're just captivated. And the sound design, I mean, at least I don't know if every theater will have this, but like the roaring of the engines and the bass and all that it felt like the cars were all around us, and I think that just enhances the experience. You can only get that at a theater. I do agree also that the story itself was okay. It's kind of your basic quest / revenge story, and I mean that's fine. It's a good trope for movies, but the only thing, if I'm gonna quibble with this, and it's just due to the prequel nature of it, the drama wasn't as heavy because Furiosa is gonna be alive. She's gonna make it, because obviously this is how we got to meet her later. So there's no real drama when she's in danger because she's going to make it. So that's the only thing that holds back a prequel like this. And it's not even a big drawback, I'd say, but it just, it's not as mind-blowing as the Fury Road was as far as new stuff. But again, like you said, if you enjoy this world, you enjoy watching these crazy stunts and huge landscapes and the way he shoots them and all that stuff, then you're in for another treat, because George Miller, this is his wheelhouse and he's great at them. And I can see him probably want to make. He says he has ideas for more, so it's like go play, George. We're on board with it. So yeah, I think it's a good movie, not a great movie, and definitely worth seeing. In theaters. Matt.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys hit it with the visual effects and the sound design. I agree 100%. Those were the great parts of the movie. I do think that I also agree that this movie was kind of hamstrung by being a prequel, in two ways. One, if you haven't seen Fury Road, I think you're left wondering about a lot of what's going on.
That's fair too.
For parts of the movie. But if you have seen Fury Road, well then what, like you guys said, kind of what's going to happen, what Furiosa is going to look like and what kind of shape she's going to be in when we get to the end of the movie. So I think whether you see it or not, the fact of it being a prequel kind of shuts you out, whether you've seen it or not, from some measure of enjoyment of the movie. But yeah, and I thought too, I agree with you, Todd, that until we got Anna in the frame, I think it was a little bit slow. Not that the actress who played the young girl did anything wrong.
No. Yeah,
I just
absolutely
thought that,
not her fault. Yeah.
No.
That the movie itself didn't really catch its stride. It was a little bit slow getting up to speed. Then we got Anna on screen, and now the action has begun.
And I think she also brought an intensity that the young actress didn't quite match, and I'm not even blaming her for that.
Yeah, sure. So I enjoyed myself very much because of the last half of the movie. I would say I was feeling like I was a little bit worried about where the movie was going in the beginning, because I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'm hearing some backstory stuff about like how we got to the place we were in Fury Road, and that's sort of interesting, but this is dragging. But man, did it pick up, and then we got some of those great choreographed fight scenes, and war boys witnessing and spraying their chrome and all the rest of the stuff that was cool in Fury Road, and new things that you haven't seen in Fury Road. So pretty cool. I really enjoyed getting to actually see kind of Gastown and Bullet Town and see their inner workings a little bit of how those major encampments in the wasteland were operating. So anyway, I really liked it, and my only downside is really the slowness at the beginning of the movie, and the fire CGI effects I thought were a little bit weak at points.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's me.
I also enjoyed getting to see the other towns.
Yeah.
We still didn't get to really see in them, but you at least are a lot closer. The only thing you see in Fury Road is when someone looks through a telescope.
Right,
to see it.
right.
So that was nice.
This we actually
and I enjoy learning that as much as Bullet Town and Gastown and the Citadel are ruled by evil people, there's a balance to it. And you can shake the whole world out of balance. That was just interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
yeah.
Okay, getting down to it. How many shiny and chromes would you give this movie? 0 being the worst, because then you're not shiny and chrome and no one's witnessing you and you will never make it to Valhalla. 5 shiny and crows means that you got a really good chance of getting it to Valhalla, and a lot of people might witness you and all the good stuff that comes with having 5 shiny and crows. Matt?
Well, I would like you to witness me having 3.4 shiny and chromes, and this warboy recommends this movie. So yeah, that's a good rating, and that's where I will leave it.
Nice. Tim?
Yep, I'm right around there. I'm at a 3.2. I think, like I said, worth seeing. Not as good as Fury Road, but if you liked Fury Road, you gotta stay on the train here.
Yes, I would like to be witnessed, and my rating is a 3. I enjoyed it. I think part of why it's not higher to me is that Fury Road left a lot of expectations coming into this movie.
It was a great movie.
And this, while I enjoyed this movie, and I think it's a good movie, it did not live up to Fury Road.
That's a hard task, I would argue.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, this one, it's weird because this one's more of the world-building movie.
Right.
But you got the...
Well, due to some technical difficulties, I will now give you the rating and wrap up for Furiosa. We gave it an average rating of 3.2 somethings out of 5.
Shiny and chromes.
Shiny and chromes, that's what it was. Yes, 3.2 shiny and chromes out of 5. That's a decent rating. So go see this movie. Go see it in the theater. It's big, it's bad, it's great. And keep listening to our podcast, downloading, subscribing, etc. All the things.
Working with us through technical difficulties.
Yes. And we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.